Hey everybody, it's Long Shot Signatures here. I've got some awesome autographs to share with you guys. So I purchased some more wrestling autographs. And for those of you that have been watching my videos know, it is not from that subscription service that I was talking about. I did get in contact with them and they said that should be shipped within the first couple weeks of July. They do a subscription box, they do it every 2 months. So I guess to save time and money, they send everything all out at once instead of on-demand orders. So still waiting on that. But 2 days ago, I don't know what got into me, but I was just thinking about how much would a Hulk Hogan autograph cost. And spoiler, I did not buy a Hulk Hogan autograph. But I knew that he was an exclusive athlete for a brand that I had purchased some stuff from before through paid signings. So I was like, okay, I wonder what their prices are for them. And I started looking and I was like, these aren't bad. Like, I would definitely love to get one of these at this price, but they didn't have any 8x10 photos. Everything that they had was like really big poster stuff. Maybe I should have gotten one. I don't know. They still have stuff available on their website. I will just have to get a Hulk Hogan autograph at some point for my wrestling collection. But I typed in 8x10 in their search bar just to see what other items that they had, and I was specifically looking for a Hulk Hogan one. And to see the names and the prices that they had stuff available, I had to impulse buy this stuff. So it's 17 signed photos for a total of 18 autographs. And when I'm talking wrestling, I'm not talking about undercard, dark match people that wrestled 30, 40 years ago that you've never heard of. I am talking active wrestlers, an active champion, future Hall of Famers, current Hall of Famers, and I was just blown away by the prices that they had these available for. And I know that they're legit. They have JSA authentication on them. I have all the cards and numbers for that and everything. It's got the stickers. And again, I have gotten autographs from these people before, so I know that they're legit. And I want you guys in the back of your mind as I'm showing this stuff to kind of come up with a total for what you think I spent on this, and I will reveal that at the end if I remember. So we're going to start off with a big one, and we're going to start off with a current champion. Didn't think this is where it would start off, but it looks like the WWE has had him do a lot of losing. So I'm doing this in order by the aggregate score that I keep track of for all the different sports and everything. So I'm going to go from the lowest to the highest. And the first autograph that I have to share with you guys is current WWE Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio. So this is definitely an older photo of him. He's got longer hair now. He's got the mustache or whatever. A buddy of mine at work kind of matched his look, and we ran into Dominic Mysterio at the Royal Rumble, and he pointed him out. He's like, I love how it looks, man. And my buddy got to ask him during a Q&A. He's like, so what do you use for your hair? And he was like, man, I don't even know what brand it is. It's something green. They just give it to me, and that's what keeps my hair looking good. But Dominic Mysterio is the son of Rey Mysterio, and he has been on the upswing recently, especially now being the current Intercontinental Champion. One thing you'll notice with these photos is that they aren't like the clearest 8x10s, super glossy and everything like that. It is a little bit pixelated. So I imagine, I purchased this from Fiterman Sports, by the way. They're based out of Texas, and again, they just had excellent prices on this stuff. But from what I was looking at with a few of the JSAs that I looked up, a lot of this stuff was signed 3-4 years ago. So I imagine this is something that they were just trying to get rid of, trying to clear out some old inventory, and I am more than happy to help them with the prices that I got for this. But Dominic Mysterio, current champion. Next, we got a group of Hall of Famers. One is still an active wrestler, the other one is retired. And it's a dual signed photo of I think they were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2020. The Bella Twins. So Nikki is still technically active. Doesn't wrestle very much, but has like a few matches per year with WWE. And then Brie is retired. They have both separately held the Divas Championship 3 different times. Nikki twice, Brie once. Beyond that, there's not too much more else to say. They didn't have a super long career, and you can still count Nikki's as going on, but again, only doing a couple matches each year doesn't really add too much to the legacy. But regardless, I got 2 autographs for the price of 1 because theirs was one of the cheaper ones available. Speaking of women's wrestlers, next one we have is former wrestler Carmella. This was one of the cheapest ones available on their website, and I looked her up and I'm like, hey, she's won some championships in WWE, so went ahead and bought hers. Cool looking pink autograph there on the picture. Continuing with the women's wrestlers, this is an active wrestler, multi-time champion, Liv Morgan. She has had several feuds with other wrestlers, including a few that you will see next. I can't remember the last championship that she held. And again, I don't really follow wrestling currently. So one of the things that really stood out to me as I was going through all of the different 8x10s that they had available was I recognize these names. Like, even though I don't really follow too much current wrestling, I recognize the names, and there was maybe 2 names in here that I didn't know, and I just went ahead and bought just because I got such a good deal on it. But the rest of these were ones that I have wanted in my collection at one point or another, and it's really cool to be able to add them. This next wrestler is really popular. They don't let her win very much, but she has won several championships. So her aggregate score is being held down a lot by the number of losses that they have given her in her career. But this is really, really awesome. Alexa Bliss. I want to say she's part of the Wyatt Six or something with the Firefly Funhouse where she's become possessed or whatever. She's had several different kind of gimmicks go on and everything. But I'm pretty sure she's the one who did a lot of that kind of stuff with Bray Wyatt when he was still alive. And they continue to honor his legacy with the Wyatt Six, even though from what my buddy at work tells me, they haven't done too much with it, but still. This one, her aggregate score is going to skyrocket over the next few years as long as she continues to wrestle. But she is arguably the biggest name in women's wrestling at this moment. Before I went to the WrestleCon, which was alongside the WWE Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, I told my sister about it. She was staying at the house at that time, and she was watching the news, and she's like, hey, I saw something, and I think this is where you need to go tomorrow for that convention you're going to. So she showed me the clip, and this wrestler was signing. I'm like, holy crap, they didn't even announce her. Like, that's crazy that they, did that. Because I only went to the second day. I didn't go to the first day. So I was like, man, I really missed out on this person. Well, what that was actually the WWE Superstore. So I went there first and kind of missed out on a couple of hours at WrestleCon. But that's fine because I ran out of money very quickly while I was there. So I really didn't miss out much. Ended up getting 2 more autographs from current wrestlers at the time that I didn't think I'd get. But one who was available the previous day who signed, and I'm sure that her tickets sold out very, very quickly. Rhea Ripley. Just so popular amongst the fans for various reasons, but one of the most accomplished wrestlers, definitely one of the faces of WWE right now, even if, maybe sometimes a tendency to have a heel. You can have that with people that are popular and everything. But this was the most expensive one that I got. So consider that as you're adding up in your mind what I spent on this. Next one, I actually got to meet this guy. Didn't get his autograph because I felt like it would be rude to ask, and I didn't really have anything for him to sign. But ran into him at the end of WrestleCon. Matt Riddle, who is currently not with the WWE, but he is still an active wrestler. I want to say he was part of NXT and then WWE, and he's got that California Surfer bro kind of thing going. And is just a very genuinely nice person. Like I said, we ran into him at WrestleCon. Everything was wrapping up. I was in line for the Hardy Boys for a long time, and they ended up going over the convention time limit and signed for everyone. And as I was leaving with my buddy from work, he was like, "No freaking way, it's Matt Riddle." And he started talking with us, and he was super nice, shook his hand and everything. And I thought about it. I was like, maybe I should have asked for an autograph, but I don't know. He was there doing paid signings, so I don't know if that would have been fair. And I didn't have any more cash on me to be like, hey, I know it's the time's over, but if I give you $50 or $20 or whatever, but I got it for way less than that. So very, very cool to get an autograph from a guy that I got to meet. I think this is the last female wrestler, and probably one of the better known ones, even if her win-loss record that they've given her hasn't been very good. I do believe she holds the record for most wrestling matches by a female wrestler, Natalya. And if I remember correctly, it's Natalya Neidhart. So she is the niece of Bret and Owen Hart. And so she's continuing the Hart legacy in the WWE. She's gotten 700 plus wins, but almost 1,000 losses. And again, WWE, it's all predetermined. But a big part of what helps people get into the Hall of Fame is if you're a good wrestler, they'll often give you more wins and everything like that. So she's got a pretty high aggregate score from on my spreadsheet. She does have a few championship wins. So we'll see how much longer her career goes. I don't know where she's at in it as far as her longevity and everything, but still, another cool one. Here's another modern name a lot of you will probably know. I think he's one of the many Triple Crown winners at this point, but got a signed autograph of Kevin Owens. Another guy whose aggregate score is held down a little bit because they don't give him as many wins. He has been on the losing side quite a bit, but definitely one of the names that gets past casual fans and everything, or gets to casual fans. There's a lot of different wrestlers over the years, and if you're a hardcore fan, you know a pretty good portion of them. But there are some people that, even if you don't follow wrestling closely, you know who they are. Kevin Owens is one of those guys. Then we got a Hall of Famer here. This was one of the first autographs I saw, and I was like, man, they must have a bunch of his if they're offering it for this low of a price. So I was like, well, I'm not going to say no. And knowing the health issues that this guy has dealt with and all the stories covering that, I was like, I just need to get his autograph. So this is Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, signed just as Jake the Snake. Now, I thought maybe, as I was going through the photos and realized how they were listed on the website, I was like, maybe this one's priced a little bit lower because it's not in a great spot. He signed on a lighter portion of the picture so that it was easier to see, so very cool of him to do that. But, if you're trying to get a really collectible piece to sell, you would probably want it more so in the action and not in an awkward spot like that. But I don't really care. And just looking at the, rest of the stuff that they had on their website, as far as 8x10s go, I was like, yeah, they really don't charge a lot for his stuff. And I will say it was discounted everything that I was looking at was discounted for the 4th of July, so that helped with it too. But even the standard price is way better than anything you would get anywhere else. Next up is a former wrestler who is still involved with WWE, probably, maybe, could be a Hall of Famer as part of a tag team stable. But I got to see him opening up trading cards awkwardly for a couple hours at the Royal Rumble experience. Big E. So, again, he's a former wrestler. He's also a former college football player for the University of Iowa. Played one season there. But he was a pretty accomplished wrestler and was part of the New Day faction, which I remember seeing clips of theirs. I'm like, wow, everything they do is so colorful. And I believe they are 7-time WWE Tag Team or World Tag Team champs, like the most reigns all time. Big E was only counted as 6 of those because when they won it the 7th time, I guess he was, drafted into a different brand, so he was not recognized as being part of that stable when it happened. But a few years ago, he suffered a broken neck, I believe is what I read. And so he's very fortunate that he's still able to move around, but just completely out of, precaution of any further injury and it getting any worse, he no longer wrestles. So sucks that that's the case, but I mean, his career's been pretty good. So he'll probably get into the Hall of Fame as part of New Day. I might mess up the name. I meant to look it up before I did the video. But this guy has won several championships, has been part of several different brands, and was a name that kept popping up a lot when I was looking up other wrestlers and their championship title reigns. And I was like, maybe I should try and get his autograph. And when I saw that they had his available on the website, I went for it. So, Shinsuke Nakamura. And again, you can kind of tell, even though my camera's not the best quality, the picture's a little bit pixelated, not super clear, and the autograph isn't anything super exciting. Again, a very accomplished guy, and again, great prices for pretty much all of these, which is just still crazy to me. This is a name that I remember. He started making more and more WWE appearances as I stopped watching wrestling. So he's like one of the last guys that I really remember when I was still into wrestling. And I think he's still a part-time WWE guy. I don't know how much he wrestles anymore. But this guy has won a bunch of championships and really, really good personality and really cool off of the WWE cameras as well. Sheamus. There was a story about something where he had taken some time off, whether it was due to an injury or it was agreed upon, hey, we're going to give you a break and whatnot. And he didn't realize he had a match like that week or that weekend. He thought he still had a couple weeks. So he was like, oh, I came back and I was so out of shape. And he kind of got called out for it when the match happened and everything. But again, very entertaining guy. This is a big name from my childhood, even though I never liked him as a wrestler. Always playing kind of a, not really cocky, but just a very... He played the heel role really, really well. Always super talented, but just unlikable, at least to me. I knew a bunch of people liked him growing up. I didn't really care for him. I did not realize he was in the Hall of Fame already, and he will be ending his wrestling career here soon. He is part of AEW, and then he'll be retiring, and just one of the best. And unfortunate what injuries will do to a career. Edge, or as he's known now, Adam Copeland. But Edge was a guy who beat the crap out of all of my favorite wrestlers growing up and would strip them of their titles and everything, and, the rated R superstar. And so, again, I didn't like the gimmick, But looking back now and then watching that video of his return at the Royal Rumble and the pop that he got from the crowd just told me everything about what he means to wrestling fans and the business in general. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'll be a fan. Even after all these years when he's basically done wrestling. And then he came back for AEW and everything. But I saw that they had stuff signed by him too. And I was like, there's no freaking way they're offering it, this low of a price. We've got 2 more Hall of Famers and then a current wrestler who his aggregate score gets super boosted because he was involved in other promotions and was very successful there. So you might think, why is that guy at the very end? That's why. But this one is one I have wanted for a while. He had a short signing window once he got back out into public life, and I missed out on that because I didn't have any cards to send to him. And, besides The Undertaker, I was like, this dude legitimately scared me as a kid. So I was super happy to see that they had this guy's autograph. Kane, the Big Red Machine. I didn't really watch too much of his career when he had the mask and was known as the Big Red Machine. I'm very used to seeing him just in the long black pants with the, kind of red stripes on it, bald, and just being a massive human being. Apparently he's from Spain. I didn't know that. But the dude could legitimately be creepy. There was something about he had it was in character, but like a maniacal episode where he was like, I buried him or I killed him or something like that. And it was like really, really good acting. And now he is the mayor of Knox County in Tennessee. So interesting thing there, but cool to add him. This guy is probably my number 4 favorite wrestler, and it's really hard to say that just because of how talented and everything that he's done in WWE. But, my top 3 have to be Matt Hardy, Hulk Hogan, and Undertaker. But this guy is very, very close to being in that group if I had to rank them. But one of my favorites all time, Rey Mysterio. So now I've got the father-son duo of Dominic and Rey Mysterio. High-flying, small little dude who could just do everything in the ring. And, he's got his luchador mask, and he's done so many different color combos and, different types of masks and everything while keeping, the core elements the same. So it's a cool fashion thing to watch, but it's also his agility in the ring, the storytelling that they had with him. And again, I watched more towards the end of his career, but he was still high flying and going around the ropes and can never really take on the big guys and everything like that, but super awesome to watch. The only thing that stunk about this was they didn't have very many photos available of Rey, and the other ones that they had, either the signature was in a bad spot, or I didn't really like the costume that he had on, or uniform, whatever you want to call it, the attire and everything. So I thought this combo, or this collage kind of picture, that'll work well. That one looks cool. So the last one we have here is from an active wrestler. He's got a really good win record in his career. He's done a lot. He's very well known. He's had a very long career for a modern wrestler. But what really boosts his aggregate and why he is the last one that I am showing by going in that order is because he's won a lot of championships between WWE and TNA. So the last one that we got here is AJ Styles. This guy was wrestling the entire time that I was watching, and even before and well after, as he is still going. And I didn't really know who he was until after I really stopped watching wrestling. and he became a bigger name once he joined the WWE. So I would hear things about him and, all the different just things that would kind of leak into my social media feeds, or what I would hear from other people talking about wrestling and stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. But looking back at it, looking through his career, I'm like, this guy is extremely accomplished. And I imagine the WWE Hall of Fame doesn't look too much at what someone did in their TNA days. Try not to look at too many rival, brands and everything like that. But they do recognize that the WWE Hall of Fame isn't just about the WWE. It's about what you've done as a professional wrestler in your career and helping build the sport overall. So I think, when it comes time to it, that he'll be in the Hall of Fame whenever his career's done. I'm not sure, again, where he's at, if he's towards the end, if he still has, maybe a peak right now or whatnot. But regardless, super, super happy to add these. I basically added a convention's worth of autographs, pretty similar number to what I got when I went to the Squared Circle Expo, and more than I got at WrestleCon, and yet I spent less money getting all of these than I did at either one of those events. So think about it. Think about the number that you think I spent on this, and I want to know in the comments how far off you might have been, or if you got it. I highly doubt it. But would you believe me if I told you that for all of these Hall of Famers and current names, it was only $400? Now, for those of you who don't collect a lot, that might sound like a lot of money, and back in the day that would have sounded like a lot of money. But let me put this in context, all right? Fanatics website, the Fanatics team works directly with WWE, offers basically the same thing. But they have very high quality photos. These are photos that were acquired at conventions, so they're not like the best quality and everything, but they're still signed. They have direct access to the WWE wrestlers and other superstars, and I think the cheapest you can get for a no-name undercard wrestler is like $40 or $45 on an 8x10. The most that I spent on any one of these was $45 for Rhea Ripley. To meet Rhea Ripley at the Superstore, and granted, it's going to cost a little bit more for a meet and greet, but just to get something signed by her there was probably $90 or $100. And if you went to the Superstore itself and tried to buy any of these autographs, an 8x10 photo directly from the WWE, it was going to be $125 minimum. And I mean, some of those names were, very relevant and very good, and some of the better names were way more money. So like the CM Punk and John Cena ones were like $300. So to get all of these added to the collection, few future Hall of Famers and several Hall of Famers, for $400 is astounding. So I had to do it. I don't know if the sale is still live for Fiterman Sports, but if you're interested, they do more than just wrestling. They do have some basketball, football, baseball, boxing, pop culture, a few other things. And I didn't splurge on everything that they had available, because they have some other really good signed items for pretty cheap, even if you aren't getting it on sale. But I wanted to just focus on wrestling for this one, and maybe another day I'll go on their website after I've saved up a bit more money and pick out a few of those other things that were pretty cool looking. And hopefully they'll get some more Hulk Hogan 8x10s in stock and I can buy one of those. But that is it for this one. Let me know what you guys think. I know it's a long video and it was a slog to listen to me say all this stuff. But appreciate you guys watching. I'm super excited to have these in the collection. And I'm still waiting on that other thing of wrestling autographs. And those will be mystery ones. So hopefully there'll be no duplicates, but we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Best luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.